This commenter asks if it's possible to differentiate between a tachi and a katana when looking at just the blade and nakago, or the tang alone. This is known as the toshin, or we would call it a blade in English. And the answer is generally yes, especially if you are dealing with an uncut tang or an ubu nakago. Even easier if it's signed, because a tachi is worn with the edge down, and if it is signed on this side. And you can see here we are signed Kiyomitsu. How well you can see that signature. Whereas katana is worn with the edge up, and if it is signed, it is on this side. And here you can see it is signed Kiyomitsu. Although this Kiyomitsu was made in the 1500s, while the earlier one was made in the 1400s. They do both belong to the same lineage of swordsmiths from Kaga, Japan. And because they were made over 100 years apart, you can see that the shape is a little bit different. The curvature of the tachi starts over here, and it ends in a pretty small kisaki. Whereas the katana is a little straighter, a little wider with a little less distal taper, and a larger kisaki. Now you can see them side by side, and it's probably a little easier to tell the difference in the curvature and the shape. Although many of the forging characteristics are similar because they do come from the same line of swordsmiths. However, they are different enough that an expert could tell the difference between which swordsmith made it. It is also worth noting that the external mountings, the koshirae, don't necessarily tell you whether the sword itself is a tachi or a katana. Actually has an 1800s katana mounted inside of it, whereas these katana mounts have a 800-year-old tachi blade inside. And it's also important to note that the shape of the tachi and katana both change over time as battlefield tactics evolved.